Welcome back, everyone. I'm so excited that you're tuning in today. I hope you're having an amazing week and day wherever you are. Today's episode is specifically dedicated to my sister, my littlest one, Riley, in regards to milk. So she asked me, she's like, April, I feel like my teeth are just weak. They don't look the best. And I think I'm lacking calcium. Can you do an episode on milk? Because there's so many different ideas on it, thoughts, facts, like how do you discern through this? And so I was like, thanks for the idea. I'm on it. So today we are diving into basically three different sections of milk. So the first one I'm going to be diving into cow's milk, the second one goat's milk, and the third one is plant-based. And so diving into cow's milk, I'm going to be speaking specifically on raw cow's milk. And why raw cow's milk isn't that like unhealthy because of the fact that there's bacteria and you could get sick? Well, tune in because there's a lot of research behind this, everyone. And I have friends who are now drinking raw milk. They've found farms no matter what state they're in because of the fact that raw milk has so many health benefits. And I knew about so many of them before this podcast episode and show. However, I did a little more deep dive research just to make sure that I'm brushed up on everything that I want to talk about. And I was just blown away because of the fact that it's actually really therapeutic. And so hear me out here. So raw milk contains so many nutrients, minerals, enzymes, probiotics, all of that. But when it's pasteurized, all of that disappears because the pasteurization process basically gets rid of all of it. It kills all of that. And so there's been numerous studies done on children and people, specifically over in Europe, on how kids that were consuming raw milk did not have the milk allergy, but those that were consuming pasteurized milk did. There's also numerous studies on raw milk and how there's been children that have, it's been therapeutic to them in the fact that they've gotten rid of eczema, they had less percentage of asthma, and numerous other studies as well. And so I can link my article down below for you. So those are just a few of the things the benefits that you reap when you have raw cow's milk. So let's dive a little bit into all of the different characteristics of raw cow's milk. So basically, like I said before, there's numerous vitamins and minerals, there's different enzymes, there's different probiotics as well, and all that is erased basically when it's heated. And so let's start with the enzymes. So the enzymes that raw milk contains are actually super beneficial in the fact that they will allow you to digest the milk properly. And so when you get rid of those, that's when the milk allergies arise and you're not able to digest them because those enzymes that were in the raw milk were then heated and then basically killed. And so those enzymes are actually beneficial in the fact that they help you to digest the cow's milk that you're consuming when it is raw. So many times people, when they are like, I'm lactose intolerant, but then they have raw cow's milk, they actually experience beneficial effects in the fact that they can digest it and they don't have those adverse side effects. And then also diving into probiotics, raw cow's milk also contains multiple probiotics, which are, of course, when you heat it up, those are all gotten rid of as well. And so these probiotics will also help you to be able to digest the milk better. It'll also heal your gut. It'll get rid of different issues that you may experience in your gut because you're lacking certain bacterias. And these bacterias in the raw milk are actually beneficial. They're not, when you think bacteria, you think bad, but probiotics are a bacteria and you need probiotics to help digest your food, to help you be regular, to experience good absorption of whatever you're consuming. And so when you don't have enough of those, many times you won't be able to absorb whatever you're eating and you're malnutrited when you don't even realize it. And then also vitamins and minerals. There are numerous vitamins that raw milk contains that are actually, when they're heated, you get rid of them. But then when they are heated and you have pastured milk, they actually end up adding synthetic vitamins and minerals to the milk, to make it look healthier than it actually is. But many of the time, those vitamins are actually synthetic. They're not even natural, and they're not natural for your body to absorb because of the fact that they're basically fake vitamins. And so when you have raw cow's milk, those vitamins are actually real, and they are actually from the milk itself. They're not added. And so therefore, because you have the enzymes, because you have the probiotics, you can then absorb those natural vitamins even better. And then also minerals. There are numerous minerals, and there's actually a lot of, there's different women that I know who are experience infertility. And then they realize that they were really malnutrited, if that's even a word, but we'll go with it. They just had a lot of malnutrition in their bodies because of the fact that, they weren't absorbing, the minerals and the vitamins that they were eating. They might have had gut issues. And one thing we don't realize is that minerals are incredibly important, and we are not getting enough minerals. Many of the foods we eat are really depleted because the soils that they grow in are depleted as well. And so we are essentially very low in minerals. And it also goes into play the fact of, what type of metabolizer you are. But all that to say, many women that I've listened to on podcasts, that I've researched, who experience infertility, went on a diet where they started consuming more raw milk. They started consuming raw cheese, raw butter, real grass-fed meats, bone broth, different animal fats, like whole food vegetables, that they cooked, that, different sauerkrauts, basically went down to the roots of real food and cooking it properly. And then from that, they were able to nourish their body. Let's go with that. I obviously can't speak when it comes to the word nutrients. And so they were able to nourish their body because they were getting all the vitamins and minerals that they needed from their food. And raw milk is one of those. It has several minerals, several vitamins that will nourish your body. And when our bodies lack the minerals, the vitamins, then we're malnourished. And so your body's going to, do what it needs to do to survive versus thinking about reproducing. Or your hair, for example, your hair will start to fall out. You have thin hair. And a lot of times, yes, that is, tailored around genetics, but you can hack that in a way where if you're eating properly, you're going to be healthy because your body is healthy. So then it's going to give to the areas that, come second because of the fact that your body's just, focuses on trying to survive. And stress has a lot to do with that. Stress will actually malnourish your body because it really depletes you of minerals, especially magnesium. So that's why when you're often stressed, they say, take magnesium. So going back to raw cow's milk, to summarize everything, basically when you heat cow's milk, it is no good anymore. You are going to possibly, I'm not going to say that you are, but you're possibly going to experience adverse effects from the lactose and the milk that you are consuming because it's all heated and destroyed. But when you have the raw cow's milk, that's when you are going to be nourishing your body. Now, some people just can't handle even raw cow's milk, even though that if you are lactose intolerant, many times when you consume raw cow's milk, you experience the benefits from it and you don't experience the adverse effects from a lactose intolerance. But there are some people where they still struggle with that. And so an alternative is going to be raw goat's milk. Well, why raw goat's milk? Isn't that like basically the same thing, just a different animal? So kind of. However, raw goat's milk is different in the fact that the globules, which are like the fat particles, are actually smaller and easier to digest. So sometimes people that can't consume cow's milk, if they consume goat's milk, they absorb it much better. They don't experience the adverse effects of a lactose intolerance. Goat's milk also contains less lactose. It's not completely free of it, but it contains less lactose. And then also the casein proteins in goat's milk are the A2 proteins. So you may have seen at grocery stores A2 milk. Well, essentially that protein in the A2 milk is not the A1, it's the A2, and that A2 is easier to digest. And so actually a lot of cow's milk is A1 because of the fact that our cows are a little different here, just over the process of different breedings and everything. And a lot of the cows in Europe are actually A2 because they're just more original, if you would say that. And then also, like, for example, brown cows, that will also be easier to digest as well because a lot of times that's the A2 protein as well. So back to goat's milk, it's the A2 protein, easier to digest, a little bit less lactose. The fat globules are actually smaller and easier to digest. And it has all the vitamins and minerals, probiotics, prebiotics, all of that raw cow's milk contains. Is just a little easier to digest. Now, there are some people that I can't even consume goat's milk. Hopefully, if you try any of, raw cow's milk or raw goat's milk, you won't experience those adverse effects. Give it a little bit of time. Sometimes your body needs to adapt to the different changes that you're doing. But if over time you're still experiencing those bad effects, then plant-based milk is going to be your final option if you're going to want to have milk in your life. Now, the issue with plant-based milk, like almond milk, soy milk, coconut milk, is the fact that it has a lot of junk in it. So carrageenan, I'm probably saying that wrong, but carrageenan is a preservative that is essentially what can create different gut issues. And there's so many other things, lecithins that are added that, are used to create a thicker base, but they're actually harmful to your body. All of that is not good. And so if you're going to do a plant-based milk, the best option is going to end up being coconut milk, but not necessarily silk coconut milk that you buy in a carton, but the actual canned coconut milk. Why? Because it's literally the whole food coconut milk. There's nothing else added. It wasn't heated. It wasn't processed. And so when you have raw coconut milk, you're going to get a lot of the benefits that you may get from cow's milk and goat's milk. It's just without the lactose and the casein protein because it's plant-based, but it has a lot of vitamins and minerals, has MCT fat, which I forgot to mention. Goat's milk actually has MCT as well, not just coconuts. And raw cow's milk, raw goat's milk also contain different omega-3s as well, mainly if it's grass-fed. And then when you have coconut milk, you're also getting the MCTs as well. There are also different brands that you can find out there. I know they're few and far between when it comes to like more of a carton-based, plant-based milk. Milk used to be amazing. It was just almonds and water and I think some sea salt. But they've added a whole bunch of stuff to theirs now as well, and it's not as pure. Elmhurst, I saw, they contain just almonds and water. If you're doing their walnut milk, it's just walnuts and water. Now, theirs isn't organic, I don't believe. And so organic is always going to be best. But with all else fails and you can't find anything else, minimal ingredients is best. So literally just the nut and then water, if you can find that. And you can also make your own. I've done it before. It does take, a lot of nuts per se to actually produce enough, but you can do that and it's pretty easy. However, coconut milk is going to be like one of the best options when it comes to a plant-based alternative. So that's a summary of different types of milk and my thoughts on them. I'm not a doctor, so don't take my word for anything, but I also love to research and know that, we can change our health based on what we eat, based on our lifestyle. And a lot of times you're not going to learn that elsewhere. You're not going to learn that in the doctor's office. They're going to say, why are you consuming raw cow's milk? Like, you're going to get sick. That's a dumb idea because they're not taught the power of raw foods or like whole foods or the proper cook that you can do on different foods. They're not taught that. They actually have like very small amount of like nutrient classes like with foods and stuff. So they're going to ask you, why are you doing that? That sounds dumb. And also, when it comes to the bacteria of raw cow's milk, yeah, there is a slim chance that you could experience bacteria issues from the raw cow's milk. But I do want to say this. When you have raw cow's milk that is intended to be pasteurized, so it's not intended for raw milk consumption, it's intended to be pasteurized, that's where you're going to experience those bacterial issues because of the fact that it's not kept sanitary. It's going to the pasteurizer, so there's no need to keep it sanitary because it's going to be heated up and all that's going to be killed, along with all your nutrients, all your enzymes, all your probiotics. But if it's intended for pasteurization, yes, there is a higher risk there. And I was researching, and there's been, different studies, and basically it's 1 in a 6 million chance that you are going to get sick from raw cow's milk, aside from the raw cow's milk that's going to be pasteurized. So raw cow's milk that is intended to be drank raw, there's a 1 in 6 million chance that you're going to get sick because the cautionary measures that are taken to make sure it is sanitary, it's not, left out and to produce bacteria. It's intended to be consumed raw, so it's going to be taken care of better. Obviously, if you leave it out, in the sun or whatever, then yeah, you might have those issues. But if it's taken care of right from the get-go, you're not going to experience that. It's a 1 in 6 million chance. So that's my summary. I hope that you were able to take something away from this. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. If you have any concerns or thoughts, I'm all for it. I would love to hear that as well. And I highly encourage you to reach out to different farms because it's becoming a bigger popularity to consume raw milk because people are realizing the benefits of it. Like, people used to consume that back in the day. Kids in Europe in these studies are experiencing therapeutic benefits from raw milk, and versus many kids that you hear about consuming pasteurized milk having lactose intolerances. So I highly encourage you to reach out to any local farm that you can, that has really great practices, preferably pasture-raised, organic if you can, but pasture-raised is key, and that they have really great measures when it comes to the sanitary effect measures of their farm. And reach out to them and see if you can purchase some. I know some states it is legal and you can actually buy it, but some states it's not. And so hopefully one day we won't have to worry about that and we'll be able to buy it. But in the meantime, reach out, and I hope you enjoyed this episode.